Show them the thimerosal bottle, which we keep in a metal container because we're a little afraid of it, and it's a very fine powder.
This is thimerosal, which is labeled very toxic. Has cumulative effects, can cause damage to the kidneys, to the respiratory system, skin, to the nervous system. Specifically warns on here that it can cause reproductive and developmental toxicity, meaning that it can cause things like autism and other neurodevelopmental disorders. This is immensely toxic stuff. And this is what's in the vaccine. It's important to realize we're talking about a whole range of products. Vaccines are a big one because, of course, you're directly injecting it. For example, this is tetanus vaccine. This one expires, it's a little outdated now, in 2007. Here's the thimerosal. 1 to 10,000 is a preservative. Perhaps the biggest one in the U.S., at least, that's for exposure to mercury is the influenza vaccine. Influenza vaccine is now recommended for all pregnant women, all infants, all children on a yearly basis. You're supposed
You
to
have last year's influenza? Understand that thimerosal is not added at the end. It's not like, well, that factory next year can make thimerosal free. Thimerosal, you either have to have a thimerosal free factory or you have to not have one. They add thimerosal at each step because the factory is not clean and not sterile. So you either have to have an expensive sterile factory where you don't need thimerosal, or you have to have one that produces thimerosal. It's going to need thimerosal or something the whole time. It needs to be stopped.
This is the influenza vaccine from Adventist Pasteur, their flu zone. Thimerosal, 25 micrograms of mercury per dose.
I'd like to point out that a lot of people didn't know, and I'm one of them. I've given 2,000 RhoGAM shots. I've been in vaccines for 35 years. I didn't know that RhoGAM had thimerosal in it. So I think a lot of the doctors were unaware. They were unaware that even the word thimerosal meant mercury.
All right, Shalom. This is Gamali out of Great Millstone, Atlanta. We give our praise to Yahweh Bashem El Shai, Bashem Kakwadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the Akim, pushing out this truth and sincerity. All right, this is a quick lesson, and it's going to be entitled, Trump Knows That Jabs Are Poison. Your president says that jabs are poison. All right, and there's I don't know which particular vaccine they were speaking of in this video, but they were speaking of a compound called thimerosal, which is in vaccines. I believe he said, I don't know which vaccine for sure in particular, but this thimerosal is a vaccine. It's a compound in the vaccine that's poison and toxic. All right, and yeah, hey, well, just more evidence that Esau is the devil. You know, Esau is the devil. All right, he puts things in, and then he puts things in these jabs, and then he makes it mandatory for all citizens to take it, because through the school systems, all these kids, babies, they have a vaccine schedule. So you have to take these vaccines. All right, you got to take these vaccines. All right, on a schedule. In order to get in school, you got rounds of vaccines and things of that nature. So this is the devil. This is the devil. That's what he does. All right, he has you taking vaccines, and it ruins your health. He said it's linked to autism. It's linked to kidney failure. It probably ruins if majority of your organs. So this is, like I said, this is the devil at work. All right. Let me get this. Let me get this real quick. Job. Let me find it one moment. This is Job 20 and 19. Because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor. All right, which that's that making jabs mandatory is a form of oppression. All right, and you've forsaken the poor. Because who is mandatory to take the vaccines? Your everyday citizens. All right, they're required. Those are the ones that are required to take the jabs. All right, so that's him oppressing and forsaking the poor. You know, because he had violently taken away a house which he built it not. So that was the point on that. But yeah, the vaccines are a form of oppression. Why? Because it's taken away from your health. Okay, it's affecting your health. All right, it's affecting your well-being. Isaiah 5:20, it says, "Woe unto them that call good evil." I'm sorry. Matter of fact, that's not what I wanted. I wanted 20. Isaiah 20:5. It says, no, wait. It's not here. One moment. It's what precept is that? One moment. Bear with me. 24:5. Isaiah 24:5. The earth is also defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Yeah, so the earth is defiled. Under whose rulership? All right, and jabs is a form of defilement. That's a form of defiling. What is it? Is defiling your body. Okay, you're defiling your body. All right, and that is also transgressing the law, because you have to um you have to penetrate the skin in order to take those jabs. All right. So yeah, you're supposed to take any foreign substances in your body, and this is a prime example. All right, because it's showing that there's proof that this stuff destroys your organs. All right, but this is just the devil. That's the devil we're dealing with. All right, we're dealing with the devil. All right. Ecclesiastes 12:16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. Started 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. So yeah, you can't trust him. You can't trust this devil. If he says, yeah, this is safe to take, it's FDA approved, you're good, everybody, y'all are good, everything's good. You can't trust this devil, man. You can't trust anything he says. All right? Because he's a devil. You should never trust what a devil would say. Tell you is, oh yeah, no, it's good, just take it. No, well, you gotta, scrutin, you gotta put everything to the test. No, I don't trust it. And then he speaketh sweetly with with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. So he knows that this stuff is harmful, but he speaks sweetly. No, it's good. It's supposed to take you. It's supposed to, make you. It's supposed to, make you immune to these different things. It's safe, totally safe. Oh, it's a little harmful. The where they say, yeah, it is toxic, but it's safe levels of toxicity where it won't affect you. That's what they love to say. All right, until later on they discover, oh yeah, now look at how many substances later on they discover and say, oh, you know what? Yeah, this does mess you up. Hey, well, you know what? Yeah, this chemical, yeah, actually it does mess you up. All right, it says, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. Okay, so yeah, that's throwing you into a pit. That's synonymous with throwing you to a pit, because he doesn't care. He wants you to die. He doesn't care if it harms you. He doesn't care whether you die or not. It's the devil. All right. So that was pretty much it. Lord, when you edify, this is a quick lesson. And by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim El Shai, Bashim Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone. Shalom.